Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. We are going to look at a game played by Daniel Naroditsky in his memorization. So let's see. The game was played between Daniel Naroditsky and Alexander Kostenik, a strong female grandmaster. Danya opts for d4, knight f6, knight c3, d5, and bishop f4. He is trying to play. He was trying to play the Juvava London, and black play the move c5. Knight f3, knight c6, d takes c5, and e6. So already a mistake in the opening. Wait, let me just. No, it's fine, maybe. Okay, let's go. So e6 and e6, e3, and bishop takes c5. Danya play the move bishop d3. Black castles, white castles, and queen e7. And queen e7. Danya strike in the center with e4, and black pushes d4 to attack the knight. Knight goes to e2, and here comes e5. So these are the nice moves. After e4, first black pushes d4 to attack the knight, and and after knight goes to e8, e2, and black pushes e5. Now bishop has to go back, and Danya play bishop d2, and now black has nice stage2 little pawn in the center, and he can continue with either knight e8 and f5. So let's see how the game goes. Knight comes to h5, and Danya responded with knight g3, trying to trade the knight, and black trades the knight. H takes on g3. Sorry, f takes. You usually we takes with h pawn on g3, so that this diagonal does not become weak. But here Danya captures with the f pawn. Since these pawns are already covering this diagonal, that's why I thought that Danya would have taken with the f pawn. Bishop g4, pinning the knight, a3, rook c8, queen e1, and black takes on f3. Then it takes with the rook. Okay, now rook f1 is a nice move, doubling of the rook and making a battery. And in so many cases, white can attack on f7 square, which is only defended by the king. In some cases, right now it's defended by the queen, rook, and the king, but In some cases, when these two pieces move from these squares, then f7 can become weak. That's why these two moves are useful. Good evening. Rook c7, rook f5. Danya play the nice move, rook f5, taking an outpost with the rook, and black play f6, g4, rook c8. What is the idea behind rook c8? Black is trying to counter attack on the queen side, while Danya is trying to attack on the king side. Look at these pieces. These all pieces are trying to attack on the king side. This piece is eyeing on the king side, and these two rooks is also eyeing on the king side. And queen can also join the party with queen e1 and queen h4. And black is trying to counterplay on the king side, sorry, queen side, as his pieces are the queen side, yeah, are in the queen side. Rook c8 is a mistake, but in reality, when we play on the board, then we don't know that these are the mistakes, and we can capitalize on it. So it's a nice move because it's a doubling, making a battery along the c file. And if this bishop ever moves, and after this bishop moves from the d3, then this pawn can become weak. So these are the useful moves. And Danya continue with h4. He is trying to attack on the king side. That's why he pushes h4 to looking to push g5. And black play the move bishop b6 to try to attack on the c file and c2 pawn. And here goes Danya pushes g5, trying to open up the black king. Black takes on g5, and Danya takes on e5 first. He does not recapture this pawn. Instead, he plays the move rook e5. Now this knight is pinned, and it cannot move. And if knight move, then queen will hang. And here comes the nice counter move from black. He sacrifices the rook. Sorry, c sacrifices the rook. Rook takes c2, and Danya did not take back. He wants to preserve this bishop so that he can attack on the king side. I think maybe. Yeah, yeah. I don't see any other reason why Danya did not take this rook, because he wants to move this rook first, then push e5, then open up this bishop to try to counter attack. Sorry, attack on the king side. And black is trying to counter attack on the queen side. Let's see how game goes. After king h1, look at this king h1. This is very useful move, because you are getting away from this diagonal, because if this pawn ever moves, this bishop can become very dangerous. That's why Danya first played king h1, so that he can attack on the king side, and he does not have to worry about his own king. That's why king h1 is a very useful move. And here comes queen d6, trying to attack on the rook. And now Danya takes the rook. Black takes the rook on e5, and Danya plays the move bishop b3, which pins the knight to the king. And black play bishop c7, threatening checkmate in one move. That's why Danya play the move g3, rook e8, queen g4, defending this pawn, g6, and now Danya takes on g5 with the bishop, because this knight cannot take this bishop because it is pinned by the bishop. That's why Danya takes on g5 with bishop. Now black attacks the queen with h5. Queen goes to f3, and king h7, and Danya gives a check. Knight goes to g7, and now comes the move bishop d5. Beautiful move, because this pawn was hanging, and now this pawn is beautifully protected, and this bishop is a beast controlling this full diagonal. And Danya takes on g3. He is threatening checkmate in one move. Wow. Queen takes g6. A brilliant move. Why? I guess maybe after queen takes, bishop f7 check, or okay. This is a beautiful move. If king takes the queen, by the way, he has to take. Otherwise, black will get checkmated soon. King takes, rook f6 check. King has to go back, and rook h6 will be checkmate. Wow, very nice. So we have a beautiful queen sacrifice by Danya. First she takes on g6 with check and sacrifices his full queen. After, let's see, takes, rook f6, king h7 is forced, and rook h6 is checkmate. This bishop is controlling this diagonal, and rook is controlling this. And rook is nicely defended by the bishop. So that's it. We have a beautiful queen sacrificed by Danya. So let's move on to next game. Let's see some more games from Danya. Mm, let's see this one again. Add a click. Okay, wait a moment till my computer loads the game. So game start with e4. Danya is white and he was playing against Eric Kilik from black side, and game starts with e4, c5 the Sicilian defense, knight f3, d6, and bishop b5 check the canal attack, and black block with the knight, and Danya castles e6 attacks the bishop. Bishop goes to d3. Usually we do not play d3 move because this blocks this pawn, and it also blocks this bishop because we cannot move this pawn. That's why this bishop is for a little bit is camped. But at top level this move is very useful because white tries to play c3, bishop back to c2, then continue with d4. So this move is very nice, and we have to learn from it. So this is a very good move at top levels. g6, there we go, c3, bishop g7, bishop c2, knight f6, and Danya stack in the center with d4. That's what I said. Black castles, and Danya pushes e5 to attack the knight, and he's forcing black to take this pawn. Black takes on e4, e5, d takes e5, and knight g5. knight g4, which attacks this pawn. This pawn is defended only once, and black is attacking 3 times with both of its knight and bishop as well. That's why Danya pushes g6. So this is very nice move. When you cannot defend some pawns, then you try to push these pawns to. Wait. Oh, sorry. So sorry for a moment. Saina said hi, hello, welcome to the stream. We are looking at the games played by Daniel Naroditsky, and Danya played the move e6, a very beautiful move, because Danya has no way to defend this pawn because it is defended only once, and black is attacking 3 times with both of its knight and bishop as well. And you can bring the rook to defend this pawn, but you cannot defend because it is only defended once. That's why you can push the pawn. That's why Danya pushes e6. It attacks the knight and it forces black to take with the pawn. And after black take with the f pawn, then his king side will be ruined. He will be have double pawns, and there is no pawns on f7, and black kings will feel a little bit uncomfortable with that. That's why Danya pushes e6. Black takes on e6, and now Danya goes knight g5, looking to attack on the e6 with the knight, try to force the queen and the rook. Danya, yeah, bro. Harlem Wonder Chess said Rip Danya. Yes, yes. We all feel that. We all want to. We all want for him to rest in peace. So let's continue. Queen goes to e2. Here black plays a very nice move, knight f6, trying to trade the queen, but Danya ignores it and he plays queen e2. Now he's attacking twice on the e6 pawn. That's why black plays queen d6 to defend this pawn. g6. g6 is very useful because it creates a room for the king, and in some cases there can be back rank issue. That's why g6 and h6 sorry g3 and h3 is a useful move in any game. Danya pushes h6 to attack the knight goes back to e4. Now he's attacking the queen and trying to trade this knight. Black takes the knight. Danya takes this knight. Knight goes to g5. g5. Doesn't it a sacrifice of the pawn? What you guys say? Black is sacrificing a pawn. Am I right? First bishop takes g5, h takes g5, then queen takes g5, and black king will be totally exposed. That's what Danya does. Danya takes on g5. Black pushes e5. Now Danya does not have time to retreat his bishop because the queen is hanging. So a nice intermediate move. Danya first plays bishop b3 to give it check. King goes to h7, and now he plays the move. Queen h4. Now black cannot take this bishop because this pawn is pinned. Rook comes to f5, and bishop takes on e7. Queen f6. Sorry, queen c6. Knight d2. Here comes rook h5, attacking the queen. Queen goes to e4, looking to trade the queen. Now I think Danya is up a piece, maybe. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Black has 5 pieces, and Danya has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 pieces. So Danya is up a piece. Black ignores the queen trade and play queen c7, which attacks the bishop. And Danya plays g4 to attack the rook. Rook is trapped. We cannot go to h4 because bishop is covering the h4 square, and after, let's say, rook h3, queen g2 will, I guess, trap the queen. Sorry, trap the rook. Okay, king g2 also does the same. That's why queen takes the bishop, and Danya takes the rook. And now comes h5, trying to undermine this pawn. Cannot take with the pawn because it is pinned. f6, what is saying? f3, queen g5, rook f2, bishop f6, king g2 back, and now black takes on g5, g4, f4, queen h4. Why did black did not take here first? Because if you take with the pawn, then queen takes on f4, and you are offering a queen trade, and you are attacking this bishop as well. That's why black did not take with the pawn. Instead, he played the move queen h4. Now Danya takes on e5 and attacks the bishop. Bishop goes to g5, and now comes e6. Now this pawn is looking very dangerous, just 2 steps away from queen. Rook f7 check, king goes to h6, and queen e5, queen s3 check, king goes to h1, and black plays b5, and blunders checkmate. Queen h1 is just, queen h8 is just a checkmate. This is covered, this is covered. So let's move on to another one. Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. We are looking at some games from Daniel Naroditsky in his memorization. So let's move on and let's look at some other games as well. Let me find some games. Uh, let's look at this game. Wait for a moment till my computer load the game. And here we go. Daniel Naroditsky against Robert Andrew Hongeski. So Danya is white against Robert Andrew. Let's see how the game goes. It was also a blitz game. And the game starts with d4, the queen's pawn opening. What what happened to chess.com? We don't want to see Daniel Rens. We want to see Daniel game. Why chess.com server not working right now? Okay, let's go d4. d4 g6, modern defense, e4, c6, knight c3, d5. So we are in a territory of like Tarakan defense. I think there is a system where is a line that goes e4, c6, d4, d5, knight c3, and g6. So both positions are the same, but from different move order. So the game starts with d4, g6, e4, c6, knight c3, and here comes d5, and Danya plays the move f6 to solidify the center, and it is like kind of fantasy variation. Yeah. Yeah, I remember when you play the f3 move, it becomes a fancy variation in the Karo defense. Black takes bishop g7, Danya develops the bishop. Black takes on e4, f takes e4. What the heck? What is happening? Okay, we are back. Danya takes with the f pawn, f takes e4. Knight comes to f6, knight c3, knight f3. Bishop g4, pinning the knight to the queen, and queen goes to d2, looking to castle on the queen side and trying to attack on the king side. Black takes on f3, g takes f3, and black develops the knight. Danya castle on the queen side, black castle on the king side. Here comes the move h4. Queen a5, very nice move. If this knight ever moves, then this pawn can become weak. That's why Danya play the move king b1. This is a very useful move when you castle queen side, and then you should play the move king b1 because it is a nice prophylactic move. Then because you defend this a2 pawn, and now this knight is free to move. Black stack back in the center with e5 and Danya versus h5. It looks like Danya is sacrificing a pawn because h5 squared is nicely controlled by the knight and this pawn. But but when you what when you become an advanced player, then you know that you can sacrifice some pawns, one or two, especially when you are attacking on the opponent's king side and your king is castle on the queen side. That's why Danya was h5. If knight takes, then Danya can sacrifice this rook and open up the black position. First black takes on h5. First Danya possesses d5. Knight comes to f6. Bishop c4. Here comes b5, which attacks the bishop, and bishop goes to b3. And b4 attacks the knight. Knight goes to e4. Now this pawn is completely blocked, and this knight is beautifully defended by the bishop, and it is also controlling the c5 square. That's why black cannot push c5 easily. Black takes on d5, e takes d5, and black pushes e4. f4, rook c8. Here comes d6, knight g3, attacks the rook, rook g1. Knight goes to f5, a nice knight maneuver. First black play knight g3, which attacks the rook, and after rook g1, then knight comes to f5, which attacks the bishop. So nice knight maneuver by black, and Danya possesses d7. Take this bishop, and I will take your rook. Black play rook d8, and here comes knight c4. Black takes the bishop, queen takes on e3, and here comes queen b6. Looking to pin this knight, and after this knight move, then black can trade this queen. That's why Danya play rook e1, which defends the queen, and now this knight can move. Knight comes to g4, which attacks the queen. Queen goes to g1, attacking the knight, and black sacrifices the knight. Of course not, I'm joking, because black is technically checkmating just one move. So this knight is not actually hanging. And Danya goes knight a4 back, which defends the g7 square, and now this knight is actually hanging. So black has to move, or he has to take the f4 pawn. Queen takes f4, which defends the knight. Rook f1 attacks the queen, and if this queen get disconnected from g4 square, then Danya can take the knight. But for now, it is not possible. Queen g5, it is also defended this knight, and here comes rook d5, attacking the queen laterally. And queen goes to h4. Now comes knight c5 back. Here comes e3, queen g6, queen g2, h5, knight e4, and here black offers a queen trade with queen h2. Danya accepts it. Queen takes h2, knight takes h2, and he plays rook e1, attacking this pawn and trying to control the advancement of it. Knight goes to g4, which defends the pawn, and Danya plays knight c5, knight f6 attacks the rook, rook e3. Now he's double attacking this pawn. Black can only defend with the bishop. That's why he plays bishop h6, bishop a4, which defends this pawn. Knight goes to g4. Here comes knight b7, which attacks this rook, and now this square is nicely controlled by this knight. So black just gave up the rook, because if he move this rook, then white will just promote, and black has to give up the rook for the queen. And black taking g7, and Danya did not take this rook. First he played the move a3, making a breathing room for his own king. And after b takes 3, he plays the move c4. He did not take this back, instead he plays c4. Why? Okay, I understand why. Because he want to push c5, c6, and try to make a connected pass pawn, so that it will be very easy to promote one of those pawns. And taking this pawn is not necessary. This pawn is not harming white, and this pawn is not dangerous for white as well. That's why Danya pushes c4 and looking to push c5, c6, and defend this pawn and try to promote one of these pawns. Bishop goes to f4, trying to control this square, and rook d4 attacks the bishop. Bishop goes to c7, and now finally Danya takes the rook. Rook takes back, and now comes c5. That's what I said. Danya tried to play c4, c5, c6, and try to make a connected pass pawn, so that in the end game it will be easy to promote one of those pawns. Here come f5, c6, h4, rook b4, king f6. Here comes rook b2, rook b7 attacks the bishop. Bishop goes to g3, which attacks the rook. Danya can, I think, ignore it. That's what he does. He ignores it. He just sacrifices the rook and pushes c7. Because if black takes this rook, then white can take this rook with check and promote to a queen, and white will be easily winning. And black has only 1 second. He takes the pawn, Danya takes back, and he pushes h3. Rook c8, nice move. Black cannot take this pawn because it is defended by the bishop. And after black takes this rook, then white can take with the pawn and promote to a queen. Black gives on the rook. Bishop takes on b7, h2, and bishop c6, nicely controlling this diagonal. And now this rook is free to move, and h1 square is nicely covered by this bishop, and black cannot remove this pawn. This is just losing. After some moves, I think black will resign. Oh, wow. Oh, what just happened? These pawns are very dangerous. I love Danya's chess lessons. Very pure soul. Was Laguna. Yes, yes, we all love Danya's chess lessons. He was very good with it. And we all know what kind of people he was. And everyone loves his chess lessons, his chess and game lessons, and his speedruns, streams. That was like top level. So let's continue. I thought black will resign in some move, but but these pawns are very dangerous. Check. Black taking f3, and Danya play rook h3 to pin this pawn, so he cannot advance this pawn. Now he pushes this pawn so that he can push g4, which attacks the rook, and rook has to move. Then black can push g2. He gives it check. Black goes king f4, rook c4 check, king f3 back, rook c3 check again, king f4. Look, the position is already repeated 2 times, and if Danya gives this check, then this position would have been draw. That's why Danya played the rook h8. Here comes g2. Danya gives a check, king e4, takes the pawn, and black promote to a queen. Look, we all thought that black is completely losing, but and after all, look at this. Black has only 3 seconds on the clock, and with those time, he managed to promote to a queen. Wow, that's incredible. Rook c4 check, king e4, and Danya takes the pawn, and black promote to a queen. Rook c1 attacks the queen, and queen g2 check, king goes to b3, and black promote another queen. Now Danya has to give up one of the rook for the, yeah. What am I saying? I'm not focusing. Black gave up the queen. He could have given check. Maybe he was very little on time. That's why he gave up the queen, and he has 2 pawns, so that he can manage to close this pawn to promotion. And Danya has to give up this rook as well. That's why he gave up the queen, and it looks like easy, but it's not. Now Danya takes, and now black design. So very dramatic ending in this game. So let's move on to another one. Wait for a moment till my computer loads the game. Sorry for that. Those of you who are watching the stream, thank you for joining me, and let's have a look on some other games as well. Wait a moment. Let me find the game. Let's look at this game. बैठो उसी come on. Okay, here are the games, and it starts with d4, d5, then you play knight c3, knight f6, so the queen's pawn opening, bishop f4, c5, knight f3, c takes on d4, queen takes d4, and knight c6 attacks the queen. Queen goes to d3, d4 attacks the knight, knight goes to g4, sorry b5, trying to take this pawn, and here comes knight d5 attacking this bishop. Bishop goes back, and queen a5 check. Hmm. Queen e5 check. Danya plays c3. D takes c3. Brilliant move, sacrificing this knight. Why? Why it is a brilliant one? Why it can take this knight just? Hi everyone, human rights advocate. Hello, hello, human rights advocate. Welcome to the stream. Black is giving up this knight, right? Not really, because if I take this knight, then black can take on b2 and give a discover check. And this rook will hang in the end. That's why it is not the sacrifice of the knight. That's why Danya first take on c3. Now this knight is hanging. And so does white. Black play a6 to attack white's knight. And Danya pushes d4, sorry, e4 to attack this knight. Black takes on b4, b5. Danya takes on b5. And here comes bishop f4, f5. Again, sacrificing the full bishop. Am I right? No, if I take this bishop, then black can take on c3 with check, forking the king and the rook. That's why it's not a sacrifice of the bishop, and it's a tempo on the queen. That's why queen goes to e3, which is defending this pawn as well. Knight goes to back. Knight goes back to d8. b8, huh? Why? Because it is attack, and he does not have a lot of square to go. Knight d4 attacks the bishop. Bishop goes to d7. Bishop e2, e6. Danya castles. Black play bishop c5, which pins the knight to the queen. Danya play queen g5, which attacks the g7 pawn. And black first takes the knight. C takes on d4, and now he castles. Danya play bishop, sorry, queen e7, attacking this bishop. And black also play queen d2, which attacks this bishop. Okay, Danya play the move bishop d6, which threatens checkmate in just one move. Knight comes to c6, which attacks the queen. Oh, black gave up the knight. So black gave up the knight to defend checkmate. Danya takes on c6. He takes with the bishop, and he plays rook e1, which defends this bishop. Rook comes to d8, and bishop e5. f6. Queen takes on e6 with check. Queen goes to h8, and Danya sacrifices the bishop back. Bishop takes f6, g takes f6, blunders, and queen takes f6 check. King g8 is forced, and here comes bishop h5, which is threatening checkmate in just one move. Black defends it with rook d7, and here comes rook e3, trying to play rook g3 check, and that will be a checkmate. Because his rook has to block, then queen takes on g7 will be checkmate. Black first play rook g7, and Danya play the move rook g3. Black takes the rook, black takes the rook, and now it's like checkmate. You always does not have to take back the piece. You can tell your checkmate also. Bishop takes bishop f7 check, king f8, bishop g6 check, king g8, queen f7 check, king h8, queen takes h7 is just checkmate. So the game ended in just 33 moves, and Danya was victorious. Let's move on to another one. And after this game, I will play some glitch game. Let's see one more. Uh, let's see this one. Run, escape. What does it mean, Iron? I did not understand it. Wait. Sorry guys, sorry for the inconvenience. No, it's fine, I think. Okay, let's go. So the game starts with e4, e4, e6, d4, d5, the French defense. Let me go to analysis board. I thought you said you were going to play run escape like the MMO. No, 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 no. I am going to play some Blitz game after this game, after showing this game. So let's see. Okay, game starts with e4, e4, e6, d4, d5, the French defense. Danya play knight d2, c5, knight f3, c takes d4, knight takes d4, and here comes bishop d7, e takes d5, e takes d5, bishop d3, knight f6, castles, bishop e7, and Danya play knight f3, sorry, knight d to f3. Black castles, bishop g5, knight c6, rook e1, h6 attacks the bishop, bishop goes to f4, nicely controlling this diagonal, and white flip queen d2, rook e8, c3, bishop c5, rook takes e8, queen takes e8, and rook e1 attacks the queen, and nicely taking the charge of the e5, and black block the vision of the rook. Danya play rook, sorry, queen e3, g5. So black is trying to attack on the king side with h6, g5, and after bishop move he controls g4, attacks the knight. So Danya sacrifices the bishop. Wow. So we are going to get some action in this game as well. Bishop takes g5, h takes g5, knight takes g5, and black eliminates the knight first. C takes d4. It is a miss. Why? Why it is a miss? Let me find it. So bishop f8. Where so it's saying knight takes e4 would have been better instead of c takes d4. So let's see how the game goes. Danya takes on d4 with the pawn, bishop b4, which attacks the rook, and now Danya takes on e4 and sacrificing this rook. Right? Black can take this rook. Not really, because if black takes this rook, knight f6 will fork the king and the queen. That's why black has no time to take this rook, and that's why black takes this with the pawn and attacks this bishop. Now this bishop and the rook is hanging. How can you get away with it? I think queen g3 check maybe. Okay, that queen g5 check, that does the same. Queen g5 check, king has to move. Then you can play rook e2, and black cannot take this bishop because queen will hang. I think that's the continuation. The first king goes to f8, then I play queen h6 check, king g7 back, so king g8 back, and now you can just take this pawn. What was I saying? Then it takes on e4. Now this is the threat, but it is nicely covered by this bishop. So Danya cannot play this right now. And he first pushes d5 to attack this bishop. Bishop cannot take it because rook will hang, or just rook g4 will be checkmate. Black play the move queen a4, trying to deliver this check. Okay, wow, very nice move by Danya. Danya sacrifices the rook, rook g4 check, just sacrificing the rook. And after black takes, which is actually force, black has to take. King cannot go anywhere because queen is covering all the escaping square for the king, and this bishop is also beast. Black takes on g4, and now comes bishop h7 check. King is covering this diagonal, so sorry, queen is covering this diagonal, so king cannot go here. King has to go to h8, and now bishop g6 check, king g8, queen h7 check, king f8, and queen f7 is just a checkmate. So that's that. Very beautiful game. So many nice moves by Danya. He found knight take e4, a great move. Queen g5 check, again great move, and rook g4, a brilliant rook sacrifice to deliver checkmate. And after black takes this rook, it's just checkmate in 4 move. First bishop h7 check, king h8, bishop g6 check, king g8, queen h7, king f8, and queen takes f7 is just a checkmate. So these are the games we look at, and it was a game of Danya Naroditsky. I don't understand what is happening with my OBS system. Sorry guys, again sorry. It is again and again drifting away. I have just adjusted it, but it is again drifted away. Sometimes left, sometimes right. I cannot understand what is happening. After this stream, I will fix it. So sorry for that. I think it's fine now. So let's play some blitz game now. Since 20th of October, I have not played so many games. I was feeling so bad for Danya. That's why I cannot focus on the games. That's why I have not played so many. I remember just I have played some couple of games, but couple of Bleach games. I have played Bullet, but not Bleach and Rapid. So let's get in the action and let's play a couple of Bleach game and let's see how it goes. Okay, guys. If anyone wants to play against me, then you can challenge on chess.com. I will accept it and we will play together. So let's see. It's 4:50 in it's 4:50 Indian Standard Time, and I have to teach a student at 5 p.m. So I will not play too much, just a couple of blitz game, and I will stream again at 7 p.m. Okay, he's trying to wrestle on the queen side. Let's go first here. Now I can play the queen e5. You can retrieve the queen. What? Okay. Hmm. If I take, then this check. Can I just take this? Oh, let's take this first. If you take, then I can take with the check. Okay, he's going with the idea. Let's give this check first. If I take, he have this check, and after this, queen h5. So I have to do takes check here, queen h5. I have to move. What am I doing? Takes queen h5. This maybe. Let's go. Queen h5. Oh, okay. I can sacrifice this bishop for the pawn. Okay, I have to play f6 and g6. Bishop takes g6 because white is threatening queen h8 checkmate. So I have to take this bishop. Sorry, pawn. And now this check maybe first. No, what am I saying? It's not a check. No, I will play bishop bishop a3 to attack this rook. I can also give queen c4 check and bring this queen to support my king, and that's what I will do. Give this check, come back, develop the knight. Okay, he wants to play this move. Oh, I didn't see that. If I take, then this. What the heck am I doing? I'm low on time. Ah, come on. This check. So I managed to, but I lost on time. Ah, come on. I managed to win his queen, but I lost on time. Let's play one more. Uh, in last game, I was winning in the first half. Then I came close to losing, and then I somehow managed to win his queen, but I lost on time because I burned so much time in in middle game. Hmm. F5 maybe. Can I play F5 myself? Let's go. Bishop B. Sorry, knight B6 and fine. Take it. I need to play a little bit faster. H5, H4 to try to play on the queen side. Oh, really? One, two, three. One, two, three. This move. This move. Now this bishop is open and this bishop is also very good. What should I play? Just to stop knight g5. This move is not dangerous. I have this check, then I can try to counter attack on the queen side. Okay, let's go. King h8 will be useful because this rook can get pinned by this queen. Okay, I have no problem with this. This one maybe. This bishop d4, queen f8. He wants to trade the queen. Trade on my turn. Now I have this beautiful b3 square for my knight. Just this. Oh, so he's activating his rook. Okay, I will not move this knight. Let's take the piece up. I think I can win this game now. Let's push this pawn, move to a queen and win the king. So, okay guys, finally I won a game and I'm now 2012 in Bleach, and I will stream after sometimes, and I'm also streaming the night today. So if you want to join me, then you can join me and we will play some game together and we'll have fun. And till then, bye bye, take care, and wish Danya well in heaven. And yeah, okay guys, bye bye.